We're live. Yeah. Big win for India women's cricket team. They have defeated Bangladesh by 110 runs and have kept their semi-final hopes alive. Joining me are my colleagues Nitin Bhai and Shazia. And let me ask both of them, big victory for India, but expected victory for India.
Before you ask anything, Siddhant, I just wanted to ask you one thing. Just summarize the Indian performance till today in this World Cup. I mean, have you seen anything specific which actually pushed them out to know that you're the dominant team?
No, I haven't seen that, frankly speaking. They defeated West Indies like that. The only game they won with a dog.
Basically, he's trying to ask whether India deserved to go to the semi-finals or
Let
not.
me.
He's going to come to that. But let us talk about this game first and then we'll come to your question. So India, by the way, scored 229 for 7 in their 50 overs. And in reply, Bangladesh were bowled out for 119. So big victory. Semi-final hopes are still alive.
Big victory, but once again, Siddhant, here also the bowlers did a pretty good job and they covered up the, I would say, the flaws of our batters here today.
You're specifically talking about India's strike rate problem. Even though the batsmen get stars, score whatever runs, but their strike rate is still very poor.
Even today, you are scoring 229 runs at this stage. What if you had an opponent which were better than Bangladesh?
That we saw in the last game against Australia.
Exactly.
Against Australia, they struggled. Even though we scored 270 odd runs, still Australia chased it down. And thankfully, Australia defeated South Africa in the game earlier today. So that keeps India's hopes definitely alive. And we should also talk about how India now only need to win their next game because they already have a great net run rate because of their victory against West Indies. So now if they beat South Africa in their final group game, they'll go through to the semis.
Yeah, I
But
was.
Siddhant, just one more thing, which I actually feel that you have beaten Bangladesh, right?
Yeah.
It's and look at their batting lineup. There is no batting in Bangladesh team. Right?
Okay.
They're dependent on their fielding. They depend on the bowling side. But Indian team is a complete mix of talent. Right?
Correct, absolutely.
You have very talented batsmen. You have very talented bowlers. Fielding at some point of time, okay, it's
So
okay.
sometimes they feel
Here-
like, sometimes
no,
they
no,
feel.
But
I want to here point out to Nitin, women batters are the
All
word,
right,
not-
all right.
Batters, yes,
That's correct.
batters.
My apologies, batters. So, but the basic thing is, you are so close to jump to the semi-finals, right? You're keeping your eyes
Currently
on
in
semi-finals.
third place.
And if you are going through,
Let's talk about how the permutation combination will work for India to make it to the semi-finals. How it will, this win will make sure that India is through to the final semis, and whether they need to win the last match, and how are the results of the other teams will impact India's chances, and
Can you
also
please-
the net run rate here.
yeah, please
Definitely,
go ahead.
please.
Siddhant.
Okay, let me just talk about. So we know England, by the way, England have 4 points right now, but they have 2 games that they're expected to win. They have 1 game against Pakistan women. They've got 1 game against Bangladesh women.
Yeah.
So I feel because the kind of form they've been, they were lucky to beat New Zealand by that 1 wicket victory was really important for them. If they would not have won it, they would have gone out. And because of that victory, New Zealand are now languishing in 6th position and nobody thinks that they can make it for sure because they only have 1 game left and they have only got 4 points. They've lost 4 games, by the way, till now. So New Zealand are out of it in a way. We have got England, who are expected to qualify based on 2 victories if they register against Pakistan and Bangladesh. But there are other 2 teams. One is South Africa, which is above India. South Africa lost their first game this morning against Australia. Australia, we know, have been the dominant force that we expected them to be.
6-time winners.
6-time winners, and they again look like they're invincible or something. They
So
chased
how
down
much of
270
their
runs.
result will impact India's chances?
South Africa.
South Africa.
See, I'll tell you what. So, South Africa have 2 games left, and those 2 games are very crucial for India as well because their first game is against West Indies. Okay, and West Indies, by the way, are on 6 points as well, just like India. But because India's net run rate is much superior, they are expected to qualify for sure if they win the game against South Africa. But if West Indies beat South Africa, by the way, in the next game, then India-South Africa game will be very, very interesting.
in-
Because if India win, they'll qualify based on a superior net run rate.
Sorry to interrupt, Siddhant. Vivek wants his name to be taken. Vivek Lakhavada. So yeah.
And Kunal is telling him to stop spamming us because I was just explaining the details of the permutations and combinations. So I'm saying, let me just rephrase it again. West Indies, if they defeat South Africa, by the way, it'll become the last game between India and South Africa will become really important. It'll be like a shootout. Because India's net run rate is superior. If they win, they'll qualify. And South Africa also and West Indies. 3 teams will then be on 8 points each. Then and England also will be on 8 points. So then it'll be based on net run rate. And because India's net run rate is much superior.
It's going to get very exciting for all.
One simple thing: India wins, they qualify.
Absolutely.
If they don't win,
So
it's
not
going
going
to
to
be
be
a struggle.
easy, Nitin and Siddhant, because considering the form South Africa is in and the way they're playing their cricket. Before we proceed to before we proceed further, can we just tell all our viewers who are watching, all the family members of Sports Studio who are watching this scorecard, and how Indian batters performed today, and as well as the Indian bowlers. I would like to point out that
Start with Mithali Raj.
Well, Mithali Raj scored a duck again, and her form has been
She is
not
playing
good at all.
cricket for last 23 years.
Yeah, she is like the Sachin Tendulkar of women's cricket.
Absolutely, and any duck in a single match is okay. Yeah.
Ayan Sharma is asking, is anyone strong enough to beat Australia this year? Ayan, I would have to say no. I think Australia gonna lift the trophy once again. Unless and until India can produce a performance like how they did it in the semi-finals
But
in England.
are you expecting that kind of a performance?
You never
for
know.
India?
That one game yesterday, by the way, that defeat for West Indies against Pakistan was really, really important for India. That gives a big boost for India's chances, because West Indies otherwise felt like they could actually go again. There's a comment, right?
Yeah.
So
before-
basically, one more message which is coming up.
It's
Dipanshu.
coming- yeah.
Dipanshu will get you the information of the press conference for sure.
Before we proceed, let me just go back. India won the toss today and they elected to bat, and Smriti Mandhana scored 30, and then it was Yastika Bhatia's 50, which helped India post a formidable, I won't say formidable,
But
good
my
defendable
problem,
task.
Yastika Bhatia did score a 50, but my entire problem with this Indian women's side is that their strike rate is still extremely poor. Shefali Verma scored 42 runs of 42 balls. But apart from her, you look at Yastika Bhatia's strike rate, her strike rate, 50 of 82 balls or something? So again, a poor strike rate. Even Harmanpreet today, who is usually an aggressive player, who usually scores run at a quick pace, she scored 13 runs or 33 balls. So that net run rate is still a big problem. And when you are facing big sides like Australia, and if it is South Africa, again, I think it will be a problem. We can't afford to do that.
But apart from that, Siddhant, I would like to point it out that the way Pooja Vastalkar has been playing consistently, and not just in the batting department, she has been a revelation. The way she has been an all-rounder for India it's been commendable, the way she's been performing both with the ball and the bat. Even today, when we came to bowl, she took 2 wickets. She bowled 6 overs and gave just 26 runs. And here I would like to name Sneha Rana. She took 4 wickets, bowling 10 overs and just giving 30 runs. So good bowling performance, and the way Indian bowlers performed, it was commendable. The way they restricted Bangladesh, but then it was expected with kind of team Bangladesh is.
Yeah, I mean, but see, one more thing. I'm constantly saying, if India wants to be the champion for
They
the
have to
first
play
time,
like.
please forget that you have beaten Bangladesh today.
Absolutely.
Please
I
forget
agree.
that.
No, the 3 games that they have won.
Yeah,
One was Pakistan, easy victory. One is Bangladesh, easy victory. That you expect them to win. West Indies, of course, were playing really well in the game against India, and then lost the game, 100 for no loss, and then they just had a sort of a crumbling, no partnerships at all, nobody getting enough runs. So that was okay, but Nitin bhai, do you expect them to beat South Africa? That is a big game for India. It's on the final day. If I'm not wrong, it's the final league game.
It is the final league game for us. I think it'll be a tough nut to crack for India.
It is going to be tough for sure, but being an Indian, being a women's team fan, I would love to see them winning against South Africa, but it's going to be a really tough task, because see, South Africa, it's not a Bangladesh kind of team. They have really good batters. if I'm correct. And
Laura Wolvert, their opener, is in tremendous form. She again scored 90 odd runs today.
Just the way our openers batted today, they have to keep that momentum.
It's very important, Nitin, for our middle order to perform when we take on South Africa, because we've seen how if our middle order performs, then we get going and we get the result in our favors. And I hope that happens when we take on South Africa on the 27th of March. I hope that's the right date.
Yeah. 27th.
Yes,
yeah,
27th of March.
27th is going to be a big day because
mark
that
your
will
calendars,
decide.
because 27th of March we will take on South Africa, and then we will come to know whether India will proceed further into the ICC Women's World Cup or
We
not.
can take this question.
Yeah, also AB is asking when is the new studio release. Very soon, guys. It's we'll give you a tour as soon as possible, and
Dipanshu.
probably before the IPL we'll shift to the new studio where you'll see all of us talking about cricket and other sports.
And just Dipanshu was asking that do you agree that this Australian women's team looks like the earlier men's Australian side?
Yes, invincible.
I think I'll be
Those
honest with you.
teams
No.
of the 90s,
No, but
Ricky Ponting.
For me, I think 99, 2003, 2007, that was the era, right?
Absolutely.
For the Australian men's team, where they won 3 World Cups in a row. For me, even though they did not win the last World Cup, Australia, I believe they have been the dominant force for the past decade or so. Only England and England have challenged them a little. Not even New Zealand, not even India. And yes, they lost to India in the last semi-finals. That was because of Harmanpreet Kaur's that special knock that she played in England, that 170 runs that she scored, a fantastic knock, and single-handedly defeated the Aussies. Otherwise, for me, Australia is still the benchmark when it comes to women's cricket.
So before we wrap up this segment talking about like India team performance, I'll just ask you guys. I mean, since the start of Indian women's cricket, right? We had like very big names. For example, Shanta Rangaswamy, Dana Dilji,
Anjum
Chopra. But we were there in the finals, runner-ups, if I say,
2017.
2005 and 2017,
17.
2 times. Are you so close? Are you so close?
No. With the way they are playing in this edition of the World Cup, I don't think so.
I would have to say we are not close to the level we see with teams like Australia, teams like England. Even though England have had a poor World Cup, they lost all their first 3 games, then won 2, defeated India, then defeated New Zealand. Those were must-win games for them. Otherwise, England would have been out. So right now, if we talk about like final, before we let you guys go, just an overview of the points table. Australia still at the top. They have already qualified. There's no way anybody can take that number 1 spot from them. Australia number 1. Number 2 is currently South Africa, who lost their first game today against Australia. 271 runs they scored, and yet Australia chased that down in the 46th over with 5 wickets in hand. So that is second. India is, by the way, third, but they have a better net run rate, and if they beat South Africa in their final encounter, they'll qualify for the semis. Number 4 currently is West Indies, by the way, who again face South Africa in their final match, and that'll also be a crucial encounter because that will ensure whether India have an easy way of going in or whether it will all come down to net run rate again after the final rounds of matches. And then there's England, by the way. England, by the way, are on 4 points, but they still play Pakistan and Bangladesh, who have relatively been the easier opponents. So you expect them to go to 8 points and qualify. So that's the update for you guys. India defeated Bangladesh, an expected victory. Everybody thought they're going to win it, and they've won it by a huge margin, by a margin of 110 runs. Now let's see, and we'll have to wait and watch till March 27 whether India goes through to the semis, because if they beat South Africa, they'll definitely be through. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe to Sports Today. We'll get you all the updates, and let's not forget, we've put out a lot of IPL videos where we have discussed the IPL 11s. So please do watch them, please do share them, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments as well whether you agree with our teams or whether you would make changes to those 11s. Thank you.
Thank you.